Recorded Books and One Click Digital present Zane by Brenda Jackson, narrated by Avery Glymph.
Chapter 1. What do you mean Channing's back in Denver? Zane Westmoreland dropped down in the chair across from his sister, a dark frown covering his face. He fixed his gaze on Bailey, waiting on her response. Bailey knew that any mention of Channing Hastings would make him mad, but it seemed she was intent on ignoring him while she continued to eat her bowl of ice cream. Anyone else would have jumped at the anger that was apparent in his voice, but not this particular sister. She didn't do anything until she was good and ready. While he waited, even more irritation bubbled up inside of him. After what seemed like an enormous period of silence, Bailey finally angled her head. I meant just what I said. I saw Channing today when I had lunch at the hospital with Megan. I understand she arrived in town last week. She looks good, by the way. Zane wasn't surprised. As far as he was concerned, there was never a time when Channing hadn't looked good, even after a sweaty workout session at the gym. Suddenly, unbridled fury worked its way along his stomach lining. Why should he care how an ex-girlfriend looked? More importantly, why did the thought of her being back in town trigger such deep-seated anger within him? Zane could answer that question without much thought. It hadn't been their breakup that still pissed him off, but rather how they had broken up. Usually, he was the one who decided when one of his relationships ended, but Channing had surprised the hell out of him and ended it herself. Is Channing's fiancée with her? He could have bitten off his tongue for asking. No, she's only here for 6 weeks, hosting a medical symposium at the hospital. Bailey didn't say anything for a minute, and then, that man got under my skin. Zane lifted a brow. What man? Channing's fiancée. He was checking out the women at Megan's wedding reception, even with Channing standing right beside him. He had a lot of nerve. Zane had noticed the man's roving eyes as well. He really shouldn't care. If Channing was inclined to put up with that kind of foolishness, that was her business. It shouldn't concern him. But it did. He glanced out the window while his mind wandered back in time. He'd dated Channing longer than he dated any other woman. 9 months exactly. Things had been almost perfect between them, but then she'd started hinting that she wanted more from their relationship.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?